Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is Broman Clash right here, and right now I want to talk about something. And you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about people in general. And it's beautiful that people are different, but at the same time, people think difference is a sign of rebellion, and people are scared of rebellion. But what's the point of dying? What's the point of dying a clone if nobody's gonna remember you as an individual? Because last time I checked, my heroes died as individuals. They didn't die as clones. Because if that was the case, man, everybody would have like the same history. And personally, man, I'm grateful that I'm an individual because, being an individual is beautiful, but you need outside perspective to teach you that, hey, look, maybe what you're doing is right, maybe what you're doing is wrong. But seriously, people just will be there and just say, hey, look, this is what you need to improve on, but other than that, you're doing great on these areas. And that's cool. But it seems as if like people have forgotten the fact that everybody and anybody is flawed. Sure, you may have, your religious nuts and they will say, oh, I'm perfect. I'm perfect in the eyes of God. Sure, man. You may talk about, religion and, how the way it makes you perfect. But instead of you preaching the word and just giving out the word, you're just gonna end up like those hypocrites that died in the Crusades. And I know some of you may say like, what are the Crusades? And do you even know what the Crusades were? Well, they were like a tenement of battles that happened back in the early 12th century, in Florence. No, not in Florence. Oh yeah, it was in Italy when they were fighting over. No, they were fighting over Jerusalem, and they wanted to claim the Holy Land, but you know they had to have the soldiers' morale to be in the right place. So what did they do? They try to portray themselves as like the people of God, and they say, "Oh, if you do this, you will gain absolute admission to heaven." Basically, if you play Dante's Inferno, it's kind of funny, the video game, and it was funny too because it talked about how the way those guys were like salesmen of salvation. See, people cannot be salesmen of salvation. That's the problem. And no, I'm not talking about religion. Some religions they do teach you how to way you can be a good person, but that comes with realization as opposed to just being, you know, being like a puppet. And it's cool that, people believe in what they want to believe and people want to do what they want to do. Atheists, they believe in their own way. They believe that, scientific reasonings, that's the reason why people live because, through science progression and also through advancements in technology with the usage of medication. Well, even though some medications have detrimental side effects, not everything is perfect. And there's always like two sides, and on one coin, there's always two sides. Just like on one hand, there's two sides: the backhand and the front hand. Or yeah, you're gonna get backhand slap and front hand slap like that. Whap, bat, dap, dap, crack, 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 crack. That's how it goes. you catch my drift though, man. Like every side, every person has a light and a dark side, and it takes like either the right or the wrong person to bring that side out of people. And that's the cool thing about understanding where people's boundaries are. And it's cool, but sometimes I like pushing boundaries, and that's not good. But at the same time, it'll let me understand where the person is coming from, and I think that's a plus in there. But you end up with fewer friends, but fuck it. And then when it comes, but when it comes to other people, there are also preferences that when you hear about them and you really get to know who the hell they are, you realize, like, you know what, man? You are not as nice as I thought you were. In fact, you talk way too much and you're way too loud. Personally, man, I understand people need to express themselves and be themselves, and that's cool. But keep your mouth shut sometimes, man, and just listen and understand. That's why. That's why I have fewer friends. I'd rather not have many friends though, anyways, man, because what's the point of carrying around 100 pennies? You end up going to lose some anyways. So carry around 4 quarters or 10 dimes, because hey, at least with 10 dimes, You can count them and just be like, yep, 10, 100 pennies. You lose like 39 of them. Hey, it's better to lose 69 fake pennies than to lose like real pennies. Shit. Who cares about pennies anyways? You know what, man? But back on the subject of people, though, man. People, uh, and this is like no scientific fact. This is a no scientific fact, or if you live under a rock. But people are inanimate creatures. I mean, come on. You don't know what the next person's thinking. You don't know what their life consists of. But what you do know is what they do now. And if you appreciate the now and you understand the now, then you can accept their past and you can move on with them in the future. But if you can't do either, then you just say, hey, look, you know what, man, you're cool with me now. That counts. But if you do something that will fuck up all three of those bases, then you just say, you know what, man, fuck them. I don't need them. Sometimes it's got to be that way, and that's sad that some people do that. And even if you are a very good person, sure, you may have a fucked up past, and sure, you may not have much of a future, but if you're willing to do something now, your future will be built, and then your past, it would just be the past. Nothing more, nothing less. But it's good to remember your history, but the future is the mystery. But your present is a gift. Oh yeah, in case you were wondering, that was a Kung Fu Panda reference. I'm sure Sonic 93 will get it. But it's really funny, and it's really cool that the fact that people love misunderstanding other people, but people love it when people understand them. And I think the real cool part about people being understood and people being themselves are the fact that nobody's afraid of being themselves. The only time they're afraid of being themselves when they don't know what to do. But then how's this tie in with people? Because people necessarily don't know what they want, who they are, and what they want to be. But at the same time, that does not stop them from achieving their goals, going through life. But yet, their goals essentially make up a bit of themselves. And that's the cool part about it. And as soon as you remember who you are, then other people's opinions or what they say about you do not matter. In fact, I think that's the great part. Fuck what everybody else say, focus on yourself. And if you see a grave injustice, say something. And don't try to stick up for a system that fucks over other people. And just because you're not fucked over it yet, doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't stand up and speak. And it's just like what KRS-One once said, many of you are educated, open your mouth and speak. Which is funny, man. And it's cool too, because it also shows off that, hey, look, everybody has like a skill set, and I think it's that sets them up. Like, first they start out like this, everybody starts out as an amateur, everybody starts out as a novice. That's no question. Even that's like an answer right then and there. But over time, certain skills get more enhanced than other skills. Like for me, I'm not good at athleticism, but when it comes down to memory, I'm good at that. So my skill at memory is pretty top notch. I can say that for myself. I'm talking as an individual, and this goes in with the topic of people. See, look, other people are different. Some are more athletically inclined, but yet their memory is not as good. It's the case of Freak the Mighty and Max the Mighty. Those two characters from the book. I haven't read the books, but Freak the Mighty is the brain, while Max the Mighty was the brawn. But yeah, they were two great friends because they complement each other. One was not good physically, and he was dying, because he had like a very, very, terminal illness. But yet he made Max, who was not as bright but was strong, complimented him and actually said, you're a great friend of mine, and stuck with him even when his life was pretty short. I know I didn't read the book, but you know that's the premises that I got from it, and I read the blurb. I know I should really get cracking on those books, but you catch my drift. And funny enough, you know, when it comes right down to it, and when you look at how the way people compliment each other, you know, some people are more outspoken while other people are shyer, but yet they observe more. And funny enough, I used to be a shy person too. I think I still am. But the reason why I'm talking about, you know, different types of people, because, you know, people, it's funny because people don't want to talk about other people's strengths. They always want to exploit their weaknesses, but yet not talking about their own. And how the way I look at that is just make me look like, wow, man. I mean, come on, think about it. You talk about other people's weaknesses. You talk about how the way you have strengths, but you have to remember, with every strength comes a weakness, and if you can overcome that weakness, that becomes your strength. But with that strength comes another weakness. It's an endless cycle. Yet at the same time, people are ungrateful for the weaknesses that they have because when it comes to weakness, there is an obstacle. And if you can overcome that obstacle, that becomes your strength. And then, you know, same old question I want to ask you. How does that tie in with the topic of people? Because people in essence have forgotten what does it mean to be human. They've forgotten the meanings of joy. They've forgotten the meanings of forgiveness. They've forgotten the meanings of, you know, keeping things calm, keeping things cool. And, you know, when you look at humanity, you know, now, don't even look at the whole of humanity. You're looking at like a little bit of what humanity consists of. You know, people on higher ups who want war to continue just so they can live while other people are dying. You know what they say, a poor man's battle is a rich man's war. And it's sad to say that, but it's true. People want to say like, oh, humanity is this, humanity is that. Let me tell you something. Humanity is a reaction that is based off of the environment that they live in and the current, you know, the current political system or the current economical situation that they are based in. And if you live in a poor and a very unstable government, you realize that it's not going to last long and the people will rebel. And I think that's the cool thing too. But also very sad because when you're unorganized, you don't know who you are. And that also goes back to the topic with people, man, because everybody has different needs and different wants. Hey, I want some cool headphones. I admit that much. But you know what I also need? I need myself. And I have myself, which is good. But yet, you know, when it comes right down to it, and it's really sad when you look at like the good and the bad, and you look at, you know, happiness and sadness, and then you realize like, hey, look, man, you know, it's really cool. But at the same time, it's hard work. And it kind of makes you think like, hey, what can I do to improve myself? But what can I do to say enough is enough? It all starts with you because you're an individual. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And this is Drone Man Class saying, you know, out one. And it's cool talking with all of you. And I say, I hope y'all have a great morning or a great evening, depending on which part of the world you're in. Hope you have a good one. Later.